Thanks again for everybody being here today to talk a little bit about your Spark experiences on our virtual student panel. I'm going to start with our first question, and that is, what are some things you've done in the Spark program, such as past projects or events you've attended, or any internships you may have participated in?
All right. So I have done many projects in just the 1 year of attending Spark. I've completed, such as I've competed in a balsa wood bridge competition. That's basically where people there's 32 teams. It's like a March Madness kind of bracket, and people build these awesome massive bridges of just balsa wood, and they have weight hanging from it, and you just see who can hold the most weight. So that was one. I've also worked on a water robot. That's when there's you work on a robot that works. It goes underwater, obviously, and then it goes through an obstacle course, and you just see who does it the fastest. And it's like an open class. You can do anything you want to the robot. It's pretty cool. I also worked on a regular robot. That's when you have a whole team. It was basically our entire class, and we worked on you pick up blocks and you try to stack them just with a robot and a controller. It's pretty cool. And I have job shadowed twice, which have really enhanced my future ideas. So I thought I wanted to be a civil or structural engineer, but now I'm thinking about going to transportation just because of job shadowing.
Great, thank you. What about you, Drea?
So Professional Health Sciences Academy. So this year I was able to shadow real nurses, doctors, and specialists in the actual hospital setting. And that happened in the second semester. The first semester I was able to gain skills in nursing, like taking blood pressure, doing injections, heart rate, respirations, that type of thing. And I also studied a lot of medical terms. So I've just brought in my understanding in nursing and about health, and the health careers in that aspect. So
Great, thank you. How about you, Jesse?
So in the teaching and learning strand, first semester was a lot different than second semester. So first semester we did a lot of just learning about how to teach and kind of just more professional skills, and we met a lot of different teachers. So the principal at Highcroft talked to us. We did a lot of interviews. They came and talked to us in the classroom that we're in. And then second semester was all of our field experience. So we each had different schedules that we customized ourselves, and we reached out to the teachers ourselves, and it was a lot of freedom and not a lot of seeing Miss Ehrlich. But so throughout the whole year, we did anti-bully lessons for fourth graders. So we went to 29 different schools in Parkway and just worked with the NCADA on it. So they trained us on it, and we customized one of our own lessons that we built for the anti-bully lessons. And then we worked with the National Transportation Museum and created a booklet for the kids if they want to go there and do different interactive things. And then if you haven't heard of Easter Seals before, it's they work with kids and adults and families with disabilities or any abilities. And so we did a training there and just learned about people with different abilities and learning challenges. And then we actually got to attend the Parkway Student Teacher Orientation. So that's a bunch of college students who want to do their student teaching in Parkway. And so they didn't know that we were actually high school students there. So we just got treated like we were actually student teaching, which at the time we were going into that kind of. And then for field experience, Ms. Ehrlich stressed to us a lot that we're not just cadet teachers. We're actually we have the ability to student teach. We have those skills, and that's what we kind of had to tell our teachers when working with them, is that we're able to teach lessons. We know the standards and everything, and some of us didn't actually get to teach our lessons, but we worked around it.
Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. How about you, Luke?
All right, so I'm in the incubator strand, which is the incubator is the entrepreneurship and business strand. The the first 6 weeks of incubator, we get into groups based on our DISC personality assessments. So that's a Tony Robbins personality assessment. You get into groups of 4. There's a D, an I, an S, and a C in all of the groups. And from there, you get to kind of start, facilitate, and execute a business plan. So kind of in my personal experience, every business that the students start is incredibly different. So all the different activities and stuff that we get to participate in are different. So a couple of highlights, at least for me, were definitely we have a lot of speakers come in, a lot of business professionals come in. We get professional law advice. We get professional business consulting and advisement advice. CPERT was one of my favorite activities that we got to participate in. And then after the first 6 weeks, you can decide, if you came into Spark and have a completely different idea or a different business plan, you can kind of go off and do that on your own. But if you're gaining some traction and you got some stuff going on in your business that you created with your group, then you get an awesome chance to go on and further your efforts in that sort of a business. So yeah.
Great, thank you. The next question is just thinking about the advantages that Spark provides you over maybe a traditional class at your high school. So definitely taking a Spark class is very unique, and students are leaving high school. So what advantages do you think come along with that opportunity?
So I'm in the engineering strand, just in case I didn't say that, or I didn't say that in the first part. But I think compared to a classroom, like you're given a lot of freedom. So a regular classroom, you're given, you're told to do this, do that, complete by then. But for Spark, you're basically given so much freedom to where you choose to what you do, and it allows you to, so if you're interested in a future, then you know what you possibly want to go into. So I'm interested in engineering, so I'm able to job shadow. Obviously you're not gonna be able to job shadow at school, and so because I know what I want to do, I can go out and look at those jobs. And I think it's really cool because you can't do that in a regular classroom. So I think it's the future kind of the classroom, and hopefully a lot more students recognize that. And yeah.
Great, thank you. What about you, Drea?
So I also in engineering, but I'm in this year as well, and so you get a lot of personal career training, and you're able to get close to teachers and classmates and spend more time with them on a regular basis. And you can expand your social and cognitive skills in Spark because you're dealing with people that you've never met before, because you do go to sites and you talk to different people in different careers. So that's really advantageous. Also, in my experience, having that on my resume set me apart from other people, because not a lot of people have been in something so especially in the Pre-Professional Health Sciences Academy. And so I just think having that kind of cushion of saying that, you can do this, and, having that in your background is sets you apart from other people. So I'd say that was one of the biggest advantages for me.
Great.
Yeah, and I would agree with Christian saying that you definitely get experiences that you wouldn't get in a normal classroom. It's also more personalized and flexible, especially in the teaching and learning strand. We created those schedules for ourselves, and we got to reach out to different teachers. You can even go outside of Parker with that. So I'll talk more about my little story with that. But so some students are interested in teachers, some of them counselors, wanting to be psychologists. We did have a lot of teachers in the Spark strand this year, the teaching and learning strand this year, but we had few who knew they wanted to go on to art or specifically something instead of just like a general, I want to be an elementary school teacher. Some of them knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they got to explore that a little more. And then one specific student, she knew she wanted to be a psychologist. And when I first joined Spark, I didn't know that you could be like, you could go in for counseling or psychology. I thought it was just for teaching. So I thought that was pretty interesting because I didn't know that. And it was, when we would talk about our field experience, it was interesting hearing about hers.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, so I would definitely agree with Drea. You get a lot of experiences that you can put on your resume that are going to further you and set you apart from all kinds of different experiences. You know, with colleges especially, a lot of resumes can look the same, but having a Spark experience or having this kind of professional experience in high school, I know for sure from mentors and stuff will set you apart from, you know, in a job interview, in a college interview, whatever that may be. But I think for me, I've always kind of been interested in business. My grandpa was a business owner. My dad is a business owner. So I've always kind of been interested in business. So going in, having that firsthand experience, you know, and getting the head start in business above, you know, the rest of your class and then eventually in college, was one of my biggest advantages for sure. And then not to mention all the speakers that come in. I think in Spark, based on your personality and then based on what project you decide to do, what business you decide to be a part of, you kind of mold into certain relationships with different mentors. So there's all kinds of different mentors in Spark, and they try to kind of get rotated around, so you get to meet with everybody at first, and then definitely towards the end, you know, you kind of find your comfortable spot, and you know, if you're in an industry that a mentor worked in, you know, generally you and that mentor get pretty close, and you get a really awesome chance to work one-on-one, hands-on with a lot of really important individuals in the professional space. So
Great, thank you. So this conversation is obviously shared with students who will be coming to Spark next year. So what advice would you give students for making the most out of their Spark experience?
I would say to take. Wait, you said Spark
Like how can students make the most out of their Spark experience as they think about getting started next year?
I would say take as many job shots as you can. It really tells you what field of work you're going into, and just so I job shadowed at a civil structural, and I thought it was really cool, but it was just like not my type of work. So, and I mean, if I wouldn't have taken Spark, I wouldn't have known that, and I probably would have, like, you know, possibly gone into engineering school, really took like civil structural classes until I would have figured out I didn't want to take that class. And so I think it just gives you a really head start in high school than it does in college. So it just gives you like a preview. So I think it's really helpful. So I think job shadows are honestly one of the most, if not the most important thing at Spark.
Great. What do you think, Drea?
I'd say get close to your teachers, because in your junior, especially senior year, if you're coming in during year, you want to get close to teachers because they can write you recommendations for like scholarships and college and that sort of thing. And you should also get close to your classmates, because you know, being in a class where no one really talks to each other, no one is like, everyone's kind of, you know, not talking, not social. It really doesn't help the class. It doesn't help the teacher at all either, because they kind of feel like awkward just standing in front of students who don't talk to each other. So I'd say just please find someone that you like in your class and just talk to them, because you can get help with homework. And if you don't understand something, you can always ask them, and to ask as much as possible, because like it doesn't matter who you ask, like it can be the person that you're shadowing. So like when I was in the hospital, I always made it a point to ask questions because they're there for you. You know, they want you to ask questions. So if you kind of just stand there and not say anything, then that also makes them awkward. All I'm saying is just talk. Like, just please talk. Don't sit, like, say anything because that'll just make everything awkward and it, makes time pass longer. So yeah, get close to your teachers and talk. Yes.
Thank you. What do you think, Jesse?
So I think that if you take risks and are pushing yourself and are okay with being uncomfortable, you can have experiences that will help you grow and uncover your passion. So for me, I had passion for teaching, but it grew with all the experiences that I had and that I was okay with being vulnerable in some situations. And then just in general, Spark gives you the opportunity to test anything out that interests you. So I feel like you should just try it all. Like for me, I knew I probably wouldn't get this experience in college, along with like the flexibility and everything. So I took my field experience to the next level, and I chose to go to 4 different schools. I worked with 5 different teachers, 4 different elementary schools, 5 different teachers, and 4 different grade levels. And I also got to student teach with male teachers and female teachers. So I kind of got to see it all, and I feel more comfortable going into college. I kind of have these experiences that I can just talk about. It already puts me ahead of everyone else. So I feel like just in general, just be uncomfortable. It's okay.
Thank you. What do you have to say, Luke?
Yeah, so I would agree with that. I would take literally every opportunity that you can because you won't get the same chance in college, especially when you're focusing on your schoolwork and on your studies and stuff like that. In high school, they build it into your schedule, so it makes it really easy to take advantage of as many opportunities as possible. And just with all of the mentors and stuff that come through Spark and in the incubator strand specifically, business is hard, and I think one of the biggest things is a lot that happens to a lot of business owners is that they give up when it gets hard, and it's going to be hard for the first 3, 4, 5 years that you're in any business. So I would say, yeah, definitely never stop trying. Keep on top of your work, turn in your assignments, follow up with people. And take advantage of every opportunity that comes across because there are so many opportunities in business and in Spark in the incubator strand to make money. There's no telling what some mentors or some connection to a mentor might pay you to do or use your service or product or whatever that is. So yeah, I would say just, follow up and be responsible, get your work done and definitely take advantage of every opportunity that you have.
Great. All right. Our final question is, what do you wish you would have known about Spark prior to starting the program?
So I wish, first of all, that I could have known, I could have taken endless amount of job shadows. So I talk about that a lot, how it really puts you out there for internships and just future. One other thing is, I don't know how it works with the other strands, but for engineering, you're literally allowed to work on anything that is affordable for Spark and is inhibits learning capability. So I wish I would have known that because I would have worked on other projects that would have focused more on my future. So yeah, for sure, those 2 things.
Great. What about you, Drea?
Okay, so for me, I was coming out of Spark Engineering, so I was basically just trying something new, and I wish I would have known that engineering can be applied in health careers as well, because literally every machine that they have and every system that they have and every program that they have electronically is produced by engineers. So I think I would have taken that and more attention to what people used in the hospital rather than what they were doing with patients, because I feel like just as important. And I wish I would have known the workload, especially in the pre-professional health sciences, because you are learning a lot of nursing principles. It's lots of notes, and it's a lot of, like you have to remember a lot of information, like absorb a lot of information. So kind of being prepared for that. I wish I would have that, but I think that's about it. Everything was given to us straightforward before the year started. So
Great. What about you, Jessie?
So in teaching and learning, we had 2 juniors and the rest were seniors. So there was about like 14 of us, I believe. I honestly wish I knew about it junior year, because I could have focused a little more my senior year on the field experience and getting to be involved in all these things and explore a little more. And then also it depends on your schedule and what you choose to do, but the driving. So obviously Parkway does provide like cabs and buses and everything, but I went to so many different schools and I relied on my own car. And so it was just, I didn't know that it would be a lot of driving, which probably naive on my part, but that's one thing just to mention. And then that Central and West kids, it's built into their schedule for every day, whereas with South and North, they were here every other day. So I'm really close to one of the South kids, and so she was telling me about how she wishes she was here every day because she does miss out on a few more opportunities that we get to do, like field trips and everything. And then she also just has less time to do things, which it possibly will change in the future because Dr. Marty had said something to us when we had him for an interview and everything. But that's just one thing to mention because she was stressed out about that. But overall, I feel like I was well aware of what was going on during Spark and what I was going to get out of it. And more. There's more.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, well, for me, one of the biggest things was like be attentive. So pay attention to where you might be going. It changes week to week, like Jessica said, there's, for South, I was a South student. So for South, you go every other day. And I had a hard time keeping track of when we would be meeting at Spark or when we had a field event or when we might not have had Spark for whatever reason, like a snow day or whatever it could have been. Just being attentive and knowing, kind of where you need to be and at what time and being prepared, having the materials that you need with you when you're going to meet or, just be, I would say be attentive and pay attention to the schedule. Otherwise I'm kind of on the same page. I had a lot of experiences that I knew I would get, but I got the chance to be part of Spark junior and senior year, and then sort of half of sophomore year. I shadowed it like in the middle of sophomore year. So even for sophomores that think they might want to do Spark, definitely go during your sophomore year and check it out before you just put it on your schedule. Kind of just take a morning and go visit and walk around and see kind of what it's all about and what everybody's working on. And then the only other thing I would say for the incubator strand is be prepared to step out of your comfort zone and be prepared to be shot down. You've got $1 million idea. You pitch it into a panel of mentors or panel of judges, and they kind of pick apart and shoot down every part of your plan that you thought was amazing. But definitely do not get discouraged by that, because that is one of the biggest things. That's one of the best things you can do to help yourself, not only yourself, but also your business grow. So yeah, I would say don't get discouraged, be attentive, and make sure that you kind of make sure you're there for it,
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you guys sharing your experiences. We are just, I think, so fortunate to have students like you all that have been just true advocates for Spark. And I know that some of the faces that will be watching this panel discussion probably heard about Spark from you or from your friends and peers. And so I know that they will appreciate these tips. And we are so appreciative that you took a risk with Spark because it's certainly different, but we are glad that you all found it to be beneficial, and we look forward to you guys all staying in touch next year, coming back and seeing us and telling us all about your next chapter. So thank you again. You guys have a wonderful summer, and like I said, keep in touch.